guys, it's Jordan here from SwitchWatch. How are you all doing today? Now today I've got a review of Iro Hero on the Nintendo Switch. Now the question of today is, do you think developers should give more accessible options for difficulty in their games? You know, to make games more easy for those of lesser skill? Or do you think they should stick to their original vision of difficulty? Let us know. If you know me, you know I'm never going to shy away from reviewing a shmup. Whether it be an arcade classic or a modern take, I'm always up for a shmup. The latest on my review list is Iro Hero, a brand new shmup for the Switch. No, it's not a port, it's a brand new game. I actually have to give the developers Artax Games some credit for the fact that they've gone to the trouble to include a somewhat interesting story into Iro Hero. Humankind are being farmed for their produce. In this far future story, humans have been taught how to produce energy for themselves and are being exploited as such. After Iro, the hero of the game's mother, dies in one of these farms, he decides to take a stand. I was interested in the story, but I feel its implementation and presentation aren't quite up to it. The beginning and between levels storyboards are a little flat. They don't look great, and there's no narration, which makes it come across as a little cheaper than I would have liked. Mid-level story exposition is handled a little clumsily too. While you're flying your ship dodging obstacles, you're treated to conversations between Iro and other people whose character art are on the border of the screen with text dialogue. You can immediately see the problem here. You're too busy concentrating on the admittedly calmer action to read what's going on. It just doesn't work for me. Either the action needed to stop completely, or there needed to be voice acting to portray the conversation better. Iro Hero is a vertical shooter that takes a lot of inspiration from another recent Switch title, the classic Ikaruga. Featuring the polarity mechanic, which we all know about, you switch the colour of your craft with the shoulder button. If you're red, it means that you can destroy enemies that are blue, and vice versa. You can also absorb bullets of the same colour as you, not only to escape scot-free, but also boost your special weapon. Enemies come in a variety of types and formations. Some are static, shooting straight ahead, others will chase you down or shoot homing missiles. I can't say I noticed anything I hadn't seen before, but that's a minor point. The polarity mechanic brings in an almost puzzle-like aspect to the game, especially when it comes to the boss battles, of which there are quite a few. I like this idea, and it really helps drive home that at heart, Iro Hero is a memorization game. So those are the mechanics of the game. Pretty simple, pretty standard, nothing we haven't seen before, but it's done well. The most important thing that I have to tell you though is that Iro Hero is a very difficult game, so much so that I decided to hand in my gamer card, because frankly, just looking at it, Iro Hero doesn't look hard at all, but the fact is that it's incredibly brutal and stingy when it comes to allowing the player to progress. You have 3 lives. You lose those lives, then it's game over, back to the beginning. It's surprisingly strict for a modern game. You can buy lives at the end of each stage with points that you've earned, allowing you to top up back to 3, but that still doesn't ease the pain. Again, just looking at the game, you would think 3 lives per stage should suffice. Bullets are fairly easy to dodge or absorb using the switching mechanic, but it's the collisions with other craft that provide the frustration. Whether it's getting dive bombed by speeding crafts, many with a homing charge, or getting pinged by enemies popping out from the sides or circling back from below. Collisions are an absolute nightmare and the primary reason for losing a life in Iro Hero. I mean, in my playtime, I only reached level 4 out of 9, which is poor for sure, I admit that straight up, but I only have a certain amount of time for games to review. I know if I had a good dozen hours more, I would get there eventually, but Iro Hero really could have done with more accessible options. I'm all for learning levels by heart, that's fine, and given the time, I'm sure I will memorize everything. Enemy placement, boss tactics, ideal positions and pickups, but for many, this will be too retro arcade difficult. Even the most brutal of shmups on the Switch are equipped with training wheel options for players of lower skill. The visuals of the game are okay. Most of the pixel work looks great and the backgrounds are fantastically detailed. These are some very dense sprites and it suits the game very well, giving everything a very satisfyingly chunky look. Where it falters is in the art direction though. The enemy ships look quite generic and different enemies with different patterns are not as easily distinguishable as they should be in my opinion. Another thing is the artwork for the cutscenes and the character portraits. They are fairly low quality compared to the rest of the art style of the game. They have an unfinished, rough drawing look to them, which can look quite nice if done well, or it fits with the rest of the game, but it doesn't look great here for me. Performance-wise, Iro Hero runs very smoothly in docked and handheld mode, no frame drops that I noticed, but there was one small thing that did bother me, and that is the load time after dying. If you want to restart after death, you'll be waiting a good half a minute before you can start up again. The first time I died, I thought my game had crashed. Another slightly negative point is the lack of a vertical screen mode. Iro Hero seems primed to be able to take good advantage of the Switch's versatility, but it doesn't. Whether this was due to short development time, lack of interest from the developers, or that they just didn't want to think about how to go about telling the story with the characters in the border art, I don't know. But personally, I would have happily sacrificed the story for a vertical mode. The music in Iro Hero is really superb. There are some stellar music tracks for the stages here. They all have this upbeat, arcadey feel to them, similar to what I heard in Skyrogue, which I reviewed not too long ago. For me, the soundtrack really lifts the game up, and may well be the primary reason for the game not getting too stale on repeat plays after dying countless times. It's well worth a listen. Priced at $12.99, I don't think Iro Hero is going to be breaking the bank. I mean, it's decent value for money, and for the amount of time that you will need to play this in order to get good at it, I think you'll definitely get your money's worth with that price. Obviously, if you don't like really difficult games, then it will definitely not be worth your money, but if you do, I think $12.99 is not a bad choice. Overall, if you want a real retro experience from 30 years ago, this will be right up your alley. 3 lives, no continues, and solid shooting mechanics, players of a certain age will lap this up. I enjoyed it, and I wish I had more time to learn the levels better. It's one of those games that you need to spend a lot of time with. It looks good for the most part and sounds nice too, but players with less patience will probably want to stay well away from this one. While I'm not berating the high difficulty, I'm berating the lack of accessible options, which is really a bewildering oversight and really limits the game's potential audience. For me, this gets a 7 out of 10. Okay guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this review of Iro Hero. I have to admit, this one was one of the tougher games that I've had to review. If you're a regular Switch watcher, then hit that like button and leave a comment below answering the question of the day. How do you feel about difficulty options? Do you think developers should stick to their initial vision and players should get good? Or should the developers cater for everyone? If you're new here, then we would love it if you subscribe to our channel for more awesome Switch content. We do reviews, gameplay vids, and some nice features once in a while. Anyways, I've been Jordan from SwitchWatch, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care.